Morning, everybody. How are we doing? Sam here, United People's TV. It always makes me laugh looking at the comments down there. Everyone going, Fergie time this, Fergie time that, 10:03, 10:04. It's either 10:03 or 10:04 every single day. There's like a 30 to 60 second gap of where it might be. But some people just love getting involved in the comments with the lateness. How you doing? Look, it's always good fun. It's put a smile on my face. It makes me laugh. And look, I'm coming here on a Monday morning after Manchester United sit down, have won a game of football. I know. It's been a while. It has been a little bit of a while. Was it the best performance? Absolutely not. Was it the best stylistic win? No. Did I care? No. Not even one iota. I seriously, like, I can't tell you how little I care about how we played and the style against Burnley. Seriously, like 0%, because we got the win. And Manchester United, as it stands, needed that win desperately. So we're going to speak about that Burnley game, of course. Be a bit weird if we didn't. But we play Crystal Palace tomorrow. Games are going to now start coming thick and fast. The midweek games have returned. We've got Palace on Tuesday. We've got Palace on Saturday. We've got Galatasaray, I think, on Wednesday. And then we've got Brentford. We've got 4 home games in a row. It's going to be a good one, hopefully, anyway. So we're going to speak about that. We're going to speak about lots of talking points from over the weekend. Hannibal, Jonny Evans, Sergio Reguilon, Bruno Fernandes. Players being back in training today. Hey, there's loads and loads of talking points, as there is like pretty much every single day. But Mondays in particular are always busy. Who's down there in the comments? Good morning to the member gang. We've got Daisy, we've got Almac, Natasha, Chris. Good morning to all of you. Amy, we've got Kenny, we've got Rofi, we've got Chris, Biker Boy, Ant and Josh. You're there. Nice to see you. Tyler, we've got Ines Fushi as always. Gerald, Brizzy, John Moulton, Ollie, Nino. Man, just different names every day. Jonah Tuck, I can see you there. Who's on Facebook? Let's have a look. Anderson, we've got Arali, good morning to you. Felix, Andy D, Danny Happ. Hey, should be a good show. Let's get started. Monday is always a busy one because what I do on a Monday is I go over everything that's happened over the weekend. So it not only are we covering the reaction to the Burnley game, but there's so many different there's so many talking points that we're going to run through this morning. Wait there, 1 second there. Am I seeing that right? Well, is that popped up twice? 1 second there. Is that being silly? Yeah, he's been, wow, still amazing. Mate, Fizz, you gifted 5 memberships and Ashwin has gifted 10 and Aaron's just gifted 1. Man, what a start to the week. It's almost like everyone's coming in a little bit chipper because Man United have won a game. It's amazing. Double gong. There's 1. There's 2. It's amazing what winning a game of football does to your mood as a United fan. Now, something that happened after the game, which seemed worrying, but is now, well, yeah, everyone's all right. No one's hurt. Marcus Rashford crashed his Rolls-Royce leaving Carrington. I think the team bus must have gone back from Burnley to Carrington. And then just Rashford crashed his car. Rashford was all right. The person, did he crash into a lamppost? I think he crashed into a lamppost. But yeah. He's all right. There's no problems. All right. I'll get that covered at the start of the show. And what I like to do in these, in the beginning of shows these days is sort of take a look at everything that's going on around Manchester United rather than just the United news. And I have to say, like, this is, how on earth is this not being labelled? Why are Chelsea not covering every single news outlet? Why has anybody been talking about United? Like, have you seen the numbers? Have you seen that Chelsea are now, what are they, 14th? They've got 5 points from 6 games or 6 points from 5 games, something like that. They lost against Villa at home. They lost against Forest at home. I think they've won like 2 out of the last 38. I mean, honestly, the numbers anywhere you look at Chelsea are absolutely staggeringly bad. And they spent $1 billion to do it. Yeah, truth be told, no one really gives a crap about Chelsea, which is funny in itself. But yeah, I'm very much enjoying watching. The reason I'm enjoying watching Chelsea fail so much is because they absolutely sum up everything that I hate about modern football. It happened when Abramovich came in with all the money and just spunked it all. And the whole transfer market got transformed in a negative way because of Chelsea. They have done it again these last couple of transfer windows, spending over $1 billion, and they're 14th. And they're getting beaten at home by Aston Villa and Nottingham Forest. I honestly, of all the Premier League clubs I would love to fold, I think it's Chelsea. Now, that might be a controversial thing to say with everything that City have done, but Chelsea, I really do despise Chelsea. And I couldn't be happier that it's just blown up in their face. I'm so delighted. I don't really see a way out of it either. Anyway, can we go in Chelsea? So can we go in January and just offer, I don't know, offer like a, Enzo, how you doing, man? Yeah. Do you want to come across? Yeah, genuine. It might sound like a strange thing to say. I suppose it is. It's going to be Liverpool when you think about it. But Liverpool aren't ever going to get folded. But just Chelsea, I just hope they do. I hope they do. Absolutely abysmal club. Speaking of abysmal, right? Again, talking around the Premier League at the start of the show. Look, here we go again. Honestly, I think there is so much evidence of this season, like really startlingly obvious evidence. I might even do a video on it. But look, this is from the North London derby yesterday. Christian Romero, hand up. Arsenal get a penalty. It's a penalty. I don't disagree. There's a penalty. But Christian Romero against Manchester United, he's almost got the exact same body position. Well, not almost. Hand is certainly in exactly the same position. Going down to defend, his hand comes up. One's a penalty and one isn't. And it is just all you can do by looking at these two decisions, right? The only logical conclusion is that it's all just down to interpretation it's just down to interpretation of whoever's sitting behind the screen going, nah. And therefore, human bias is part of it. Because it's just down to somebody looking at it going, should I or shouldn't I? Should I or shouldn't I? And it's just I despise what Chelsea and PSG and City have done in terms of the ownership of modern day football clubs. And I despise what's going on with VAR and just how horrendous that decision is. Or just how horrendous that all of the decisions are. Just the whole system itself is an absolute joke. And it's I remember when it came in, it was supposed to, the way I looked at it was, you're going to bring in technology to sort of remove those decisions away from real-time referees to give a bit of accuracy to certain decisions, which may be 50-50. I thought, I can understand that. Actually, no, it's supposed to be brought in to do the clear and obvious at the beginning. And it's so far from that. Every week now, and that's what I mean. I would probably do a video on this, right? But I wouldn't do it from just a Manchester United perspective. I could do this just from everybody in Premier League perspective. We're all suffering. Football itself overall is suffering. I'm not just saying that United are worse off than any other club. It's just that I know the decisions that go against United, and I'm sure other clubs fans will do the same thing. But it's not helping football at all. And it's just getting on my nerves. Every week, and it happened again this week. Luckily, it didn't actually impact Manchester United because of that Bruno volley. Jeez, we'll speak about that. We'll speak about football in about 5 minutes or so. But it's just, man, it's frustrating. Really is frustrating. It's making the game worse. Now, something that happened over the weekend, which I've seen a lot of United fans, just a lot of fans in general talking about, was this, which I wanted to speak about for a little bit. So, if you don't know what happened, let me fill you in. This weekend was Ajax against Feyenoord. Is it De Klassiker? It's the biggest match in the Eredivisie, right? Ajax, of course, are they current champions? No, is it Feyenoord? No, Feyenoord won last year, I think. Anyway, Ajax have had a good start to the season. It's been a good few years for them. After everything that kind of started with Overmars and then Manchester United coming in, and we took Erik ten Hag, we took Mitchell van der Gag, and then everything sort of went towards Van der Sar, and Van der Sar's not done particularly well. Then obviously Van der Sar had that brain hemorrhage health scare. I don't actually know what his current condition is at this moment in time, but they've not had a good few years. And yesterday, the Ajax fans let their club know that they were losing 3-0 to Feyenoord at home, and Ajax fans got the game abandoned. Right? Oh no, that's the next video. Fireworks on the pitch. I think the game got stopped twice, and then it happened a third time, and the game got abandoned when it was 3-0 to Feyenoord, and then it all started kicking off. This is Ajax breaking into their own stadium. Okay. And then on top of that, you've got Riot horses were outside the Amsterdam arena, charging at fans, breaking fans up. Okay. That happened. Then on top of that, you've got police using tear gas to break up the crowds. Right. And then after all of that, Ajax announced later that evening that they had sacked their director of football, Sven Mislintat. Now, he was, of course, in charge, if I remember correctly, there might be any Ajax fans in the comments to let me know. He was in charge of sort of like the transfers, and then, well, it's not, as I said, it's not been a good time for Ajax. Now, the reason I'm mentioning this, of course, is because immediately there's people on Twitter going, "Oh, that's how you do it. United fans, that's how you do it." And I'm sitting there just looking at it, and I'm like, right, okay. So I'm just going to presume, and this is a presumption, that there will be a lot of people going, "Oh yeah, do this, do that, yeah, sit, get involved, get fireworks out, get arrested, kick the doors down." They'll happily say that. They won't go anywhere near doing that. And you think that it's hooliganism, right? What else are you going to call that? What else are you going to call your own stadium being booted in by your own fans? You think that's the answer? I would hesitate to disagree. I think it was Marco van Basten speaking on Dutch TV about how hooliganism is a problem inside Dutch football, and Ajax have an ultra group. A lot of European clubs, in fact, is it all European clubs? Well, I just know it's a lot of them. They have an ultra group, which is just not part of English football culture. A lot of European clubs will have they'll have somebody in the stadium either with a microphone or somebody with a drum that leads the chants. Crystal Palace fans do it as well. It doesn't really happen over here. It's just, I just find it a bit odd that there's United fans going, "Yeah, this is what we need, lads. Yeah, this is what we need. This is the solution. Let's get hundreds of people arrested. Let's cause riots. Yeah, that's it." And I suppose it's the reason that United fans are suggesting that is because everything that has happened so far has fallen on deaf ears. Because the Glazers have just got the thickest skin that possibly exists. Look, we managed to achieve it. We managed to get a game abandoned once. Of course, you know exactly what game that was. United against Liverpool. Because Man United fans caught the club out. And it's one thing I will always continue to say as well. Manchester United is a global club, right? We are one of the 3 biggest clubs in the world still. Ajax, as great a club as Ajax is, it's quite regionalized. It's localized. An overwhelming amount of Ajax fans are going to be from Amsterdam, sorry. It's just part and parcel of the scale of Manchester United. And I don't know. I just find it, I always think it's almost like apples and oranges. Comparing what's going on there at Ajax and saying, well, why aren't United fans doing that? And just expecting United fans to organize a riot and for United fans to start booting down the doors of Old Trafford. It's just a bit, it's weird, but I imagine it's the place where United fans have got to, right? Where it's just like we're all there's so many that are at the end of their tether with the Glazers, and it's just it's just a bit weird. I'm gonna go down and see what you're saying in the comments. Matt, this is something that I will continue to say. As soon as we do that, they have even more to use against us. Man United fans will be labelled as criminals. The innocent Glazer family. Oh, you know exactly how the narrative is going to go in the media if we did anything like that. Geez, the press hates us anyway. Let alone if we did something like that. They'd never let us forget it. The whole image of Manchester United will be changed. It's just, I find it, I don't know, I find it really, really shocking because it's so easy just to say, oh, look what Ajax have achieved. Look, I'm not saying the Glazers have just got the thickest skin in the world, man. Thickest skin in the world. They do not give a crap. I actually don't know what can be done. I really don't know what can be done, apart from the fact that we just have to hope that Sheikh Jassim or Jim Ratcliffe decides to go, oh, we're going to pay another $1 billion. Because it seems like the Glazers have more patience to wait for the extra money than I think anybody could have shown. What are we saying there? I'm not even going to read some of these comments out. It's wild, man. It's wild. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Should we talk about football for a little bit then? Why not? Because we actually won a game, right? We actually won a game of football. You can see it down there, what I've labelled it as. I said Man United's season starts properly from now. And it has to. It absolutely has to. Because that game against Burnley, it was pretty poop overall. I mean, from a collective team organization perspective, it was good. That was something Diogo Dalot said after the game, right? He goes, like, I think we showed a properly compact team, aggressively defending the box, everybody supporting each other. Collectively, we were very good. Everyone was speaking with each other, communication. And I can agree to that point. Man United kept our first clean sheet since the opening day of the season. After 3 games where we conceded 3 or more goals, Burnley didn't threaten us whatsoever. They had, 73% of the possession? How many times did they genuinely threaten our box? Come on. Be completely honest with yourself. There's so many people going, oh, blah, blah, blah. Oh, look how bad United played this and that. United decided, and I've compared it, and it's exactly the same thing, is Southampton and Leicester last season. Go and watch those games back. I remember them. I'm pretty sure they were both 1-0 wins. I'm pretty sure that we ended up for the last 20 minutes just sort of sitting into a defensive shape because we didn't really know what was going on like that. It worked. And that's exactly what that game needed to be. Look, Erik ten Hag is not going any further than saying, look, yeah, that will give him confidence, but it's only 1 win. And it is only one win. But it is a win that this club desperately needed. Was it anywhere near good enough performance-wise? Absolutely not. But should you care? Honestly, I really don't think so. And if you do, then I think you're putting unrealistic expectations onto a team that had just lost to Bayern Munich, to Brighton, to Arsenal, a team that was missing 12 players through injury, a team that is being managed by Erik ten Hag whilst a takeover looms in the background. Like the negativity, it was like a whirlpool at Manchester United going into that game against Burnley. Jonathan, you put it there. We've lost 18 of our last 36 away games. That game there just needed to be a win. Absolutely needed to be a win and nothing more. And it's fair enough, man. Like, I know that there's definitely going to be some people that will be like, we needed more. And they're going to start criticizing Rashford's individual performance and then criticizing this performance and then saying, why didn't he do more? And then he do this. And why didn't we score 6 against Burnley? They're bottom of the league with 1 point. Blah, de, blah, de, blah. This is why you're so angry as football fans. Because you want to go from where Man United were going into that Burnley game. We were like, we were at like 20% battery, maybe, as a football team. But you expect that 20% within the space of 5 days to go from that to 90%. Fluid, lovely performance, perfect football. Unrealistic expectations. You're going to leave yourself disappointed, people. You're going to leave yourself disappointed. Now what we need to do is kick on, right? By the way, can we just stop talking for a minute? Can we just stop talking for a minute and speak about that Bruno goal? That Bruno goal was absolutely unbelievable. Technique on that was 10 out of 10. In a game which absolutely lacked the far and few between the moments of quality in that game. That volley from Bruno Fernandes, it was properly Van Persie Rooney-esque, wasn't it? Wasn't quite as far on the pass of Rooney, and it was a little bit, I'm not saying that it was better, but it was right up there. Right up there. Is that his first goal of the season? No, that was first season. I thought you said that was first goal of the season. You're saying that's what that was first season Bruno. Bruno dragged us through, I suppose, with that goal. And Bruno is a player that again, people just love to, slate. So many people, and I've seen this, right? Let me speak about this. All up in the comments. I've seen it all over, well, just all over everywhere, really. So let's have a conversation about it. I say about it, I mean him. I think I'm pretty sure I have had conversations about him before, but let's have another one. In fact, there's a couple of super chats. Let me read these out and then we'll speak about this player. Jonathan, have you noticed Rash's physicality in defense and challenges? Seems to be pulling out of challenges or not even competing at all. Jonathan, if you give me 10 seconds, I'll follow up on that comment. And David, you're saying only game Chelsea have won is Luton. Man. I hope Poch doesn't get sacked. It's definitely not working. But Jonathan, what you were saying down there, right? We're talking about Rashford. Let's talk about Rashford then. Rashford so far this season has been, I don't know how to describe what he's been. He's been inconsistent, absolutely. He's just not quite been there. And I think the comment that was left there about how Rashford is, it kind of looks like he's going in 50-50. He is, and he's just not there at all. I don't know whether it's him being overworked and underfit. I don't think it is that. The thing that he's definitely struggling with now, and I don't know how long this is going to take, and this is what happens, right? When you can't play a player like Hojlund until what? The 4th or the 5th game of the season, and he comes in mid-season, you don't have a pre-season with him. That's when Rashford should have been learning Hojlund's game. They should have understood each other by the time that we kicked the season off against Wolves. Instead, Rashford's learning mid-season. And it is a very different thing. I've told you this before. And again, I think it's an unrealistic expectation to think that Rashford and Hojlund straight away is going to link up. But Rashford's game always has been, by the way, not just about Hojlund. Rashford's game has always been head down and drive. As his natural game, he's always played like that. Absolutely always. And last season, we saw the absolute best of it, 30 goals. Rashford, I don't know what's going on with Rashford right now. But there are bigger problems. And I think this is the thing, right? I always focus on, let's say, some people will, like, I don't know, against Bayern Munich, call out Bruno Fernandes for an awful performance. But I look at that Bayern Munich game and I'm thinking there are so many other more important talking points than how Bruno played against Bayern Munich. I won't give it any energy. And that's what I try to do. I try to focus on what I feel are the most important issues. And I still think there are bigger issues at Manchester United right now than Rashford's form. I also think his form will improve. I think his relationship with Hojlund will improve. But he's definitely a man who's kind of, he just looks a little bit confused and frustrated with himself. It's like hands in the air. Sometimes, like Arsenal, if you watch Rashford against Arsenal, he tracked back. His head was in the game against Arsenal. Scored a cracker too, by the way. But then other games, he drifts. He very much drifts. And I think you can say that about it. There's no United player so far this season that has consistently been fantastic. Reguilon's been pretty impressive in these last few games. But nobody really has absolutely nailed this season. And the same goes for Marcus Rashford. If anybody thinks that he deserves more criticism or extra criticism, no, it's just he's part and parcel of a club and a team which is struggling for form right now. What else what more do you want to say? Some people really, really want to go in on Rashford, though. Really, 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 really want to go in on Rashford. Jordan, what are you saying? The staff could walk out and players until the takeover. A possibility, do people think? Do I think that everyone's going to walk out? No, Jordan. I don't think they are. What's that? I don't know what that is. What that would even be called. Sure, it's got a name, but no. Daniel Gray, defend Bruno. I will defend Bruno anywhere and argue with anyone. Of all the players who are problems at Manchester United right now, there are so many more that I will speak about ahead of Bruno Fernandes. It's not even funny. I honestly think you're just being an idiot. If boycott, strike, strike, there you go. You are just being an idiot if you are going after Bruno Fernandes. I swear on my life. How can you possibly look at this United team and have enough energy to go after Bruno Fernandes ahead of so many other players? It's baffling. He is the best player that we have signed since Fergie. And it's not even close. And still you want to go after him. Still you do. Madness. Madness. Maybe it's part of modern football. I have no idea. But genuinely, it's just like, it just makes me keep doing. I'm like, are you being mad? Are you being mad? Apparently you are. Player who definitely performed and a player who definitely impressed against Burnley was Hannibal. So Hannibal was a player that quite a few United fans have been calling to bring back in. Well, not bring back into the team, bring into the team. And Erik Ten Hag did it against Burnley. And he performed. He really, really did perform. Especially when you contrast that with the sort of passive performance of Scott McTominay. And what I mean by passive is, just the game passes him by. He's not really 100% committed to too much defensively. He's not really 100% committed to too much going forward. Now, just playing the youth is not the answer. All right? It might be an answer to you, but it's not an answer to the rigors of the Premier League. Just throw the kids in. Yeah, that'll do. All right, until the kids sink, and then you've given them an absolutely horrendous start to their career. The best youth players that have come through at United have come through in circumstances where they've been allowed to shine. The class of 92 would not have existed if it wasn't for the likes of Cantona and Keane and Bruce and the players that were actually already there that helped guide them through. They didn't just make it because they were incredibly talented. They made it because of the circumstances of where the club was. Now, Hannibal, he is a fighter. Always has been. And the thing that impressed me the most about Hannibal was the maturity of his performance. If anybody's followed Hannibal over the last, I don't know, few years, just watch his progression through the under-18s. That sort of application that you saw against Burnley was pretty much what you've seen the whole way through. He's somebody who's 100% committed forward, defensively and in attack, and he gives everything. But sometimes that's always been to the detriment of him when he misses a tackle and he gets a bit hot-headed, and that energy levels and the adrenaline's so high that it leads to kind of silly decisions. Hannibal didn't do that against Burnley at all. Ten Hag said it was a sort of it wasn't a perfect performance from Hannibal, right? We only just about beat Burnley 1-0, but he did his job perfectly. What Erik Ten Hag asked Hannibal to do, Hannibal did. And that would have earned him a lot of stripes with Ten Hag. And yeah, given that, I'll be honest, like McTominay, he looks like he doesn't want to be at Manchester United now. McTominay, it looks like he realizes and accepts that Manchester United and Erik Ten Hag wanted to sell him and that he's no longer wanted at the club. And I can therefore understand. Come on, man. Imagine that. That would impact you. You've been an academy player at United your whole way through. You fought, and then you've realized that United manager doesn't want you anymore. It's gonna take your enthusiasm down a few notches. But McTominay is a player that shouldn't be at Manchester United anymore. Harry Maguire is a player that shouldn't be at Manchester United anymore. We've got still quite a few players inside this squad who shouldn't be at Manchester United anymore. But Hannibal, a really, really good example there of a youngster coming. He's not that young anymore. How old is Hannibal? Is he 21 now? Let's have a look. I think he's 21. 20. Turned 20 in January. So he's still pretty young, actually. Fair enough. But I was impressed by him, man. I really, really was impressed by him. But there's other talking points we need to speak about. Anybody see this coming? Anybody see this coming? Because I didn't. Jonny Evans coming in because Varane's injured, Martinez is injured, Maguire's injured. So we've got Lindelof and Evans. And then Evans probably puts in the man. I think he was man of the match. I think it was either Evans, it was either Hannibal, or if you wanted to give it to him, because it kind of happens a lot in man of the match situations, doesn't it? You just kind of give it to the goal scorer, which I don't think is always what it should be. But Jonny Evans played really well. I don't imagine that if Jonny Evans played against City or Liverpool and the pace of the game went up about 7 notches, that it would suit him. But clearly, Evans has shown there in that game that Evans can be a player that we can utilize this season from a squad perspective. I don't think he'll be fit enough to start against Crystal Palace on Tuesday. Oh, maybe, would he? Nah, don't think so. Not when he played 90 minutes there. But fair play to Jonny Evans, man. Great assist, by the way, to Bruno Fernandes. Should have had a goal, in my opinion. Hojlund was again, I can show you complete inconsistencies with that decision that was made there. But fair play, man. Fair play to Jonny Evans. I just didn't see it coming. What are you saying down here in the comments? I'm going to read a few of your comments out down here. Evans showing he's still got it. Let's have a look here. Evans had a great game, says Paula. Yeah, man. I was just... We're playing with Jonny Evans, man, as a starter in the Premier League. Shouldn't be the case. I mean, he had a great time. He had an absolutely great time. But we shouldn't be starting Jonny Evans in the Premier League. It's just a sign of where this club is at. That there should have been Todibo. That should have been Todibo standing there. And Harry Maguire should have played for West Ham this weekend. Instead, Harry Maguire was injured. We couldn't sign Todibo. And we got Evans on a 1-year contract to be a cover for Manchester United. And then we had a defensive crisis. And in that situation, for Evans to step in the way he did and for us to keep a clean sheet, really impressive. I thought it was really impressive anyway. Somebody who's definitely impressing Manchester United right now, by the way, is this lad. It's Sergio Reguilon. Erik Ten Hag confirmed that Reguilon was ill for the Burnley game, but he wanted to play through it and continue. Man, what is it? What are they feeding and what are they training with these players, man? Like, we are getting illnesses left, right, and center. We are getting injuries. It's like Lurgy FC. I do not get it. Do not get it. The club doctor officially started with the club last Monday, by the way. So fingers crossed the injuries might improve, but it's going to take... I imagine the club, was it Gary O'Driscoll coming from Arsenal? I imagine he's going to have to do like a full audit of Manchester United's systems, processes, all that jazz. And that will take some time before you can actually go, right, okay, so this is how we're going to switch it. Or maybe you do both at the same time. Maybe the audit's been done by somebody else before he's come in. I don't know. But Reguilon playthrough illness. We don't know whether he's going to be fit for Palace on Tuesday. I've got no idea what team we're going to be playing. I'm going to run through that in a bit. But I've been really impressed by him. I think it's quite a sad indictment of the squad that we're genuinely, and I think we're justified in being impressed by Reguilon's application, attitude, and drive in these 3 performances he's played for the club. It's indicative of how poorly the rest of the players have done for the fact that he could sort of stand out. And yeah, but fair play to him. I don't mean that from a completely negative sense. But it's just like, for him to have come in, it kind of exposes the kind of fitness levels and the application levels of the other players. And you're saying down there, you're saying that it's the question for me isn't fitness, it's why Reguilon has so much more desire. I mean, desire and fitness are they go hand in hand, man. Like against, was it Bayern Munich? When Reguilon chased from his left back position the whole way across the pitch to make a tackle. Sure, he had the desire to do that, but if he wasn't fit enough, he couldn't make that run. I, right now, have got the desire to go and do a 11-second 100 meters. I couldn't do it, though. Reguilon's got that combination. And yeah, it's been impressive, man. It really has. Of course, there was some other positives to take from the game. And this man look, it wasn't really a debut, was it? It was Amrabat coming on for the last few minutes. And look, I've seen people absolutely slating this as well. Oh, Ten Hag. Oh, my God. Look at the substitutions he didn't make against Burnley. Oh, Garnacho. I saw it in the comments this morning. Oh, Garnacho and Pellistri. He's wasting their careers at the club. Oh, my God. Honestly, I swear on my life, there would be some United fans that would find fault in winning a treble. You would. I can't believe he waited that long to bring Solskjaer on. He's so lucky he got away with it. Do you imagine? Imagine United fans. Oh, my God, he's playing who? Nicky Butt in midfield. Oh, I know Keane and Scholes are injured. Oh, man. Who is this manager, man? Fergie doesn't know what he's doing. They would. Seriously. I think, honestly, I think some United fans would find fault in winning a treble. It's part and parcel of of modern day football culture. But the reason I'm saying that about people complaining that Ten Hag didn't use subs, Ten Hag didn't make subs there because defensively we were resolute. And when he made a sub in Amrabat, was one of the only times that a little error came down at the left back. Ten Hag didn't want to affect the system. I think he even spoke about it in his post-match game. Did he say it here? No, he didn't say it here. But I think I had the quotes up here, but I've taken them off here, actually. No, that's Yves Bissouma I'm speaking about in a bit. Ten Hag, I understood why he didn't make subs against Burnley, because as a defensive unit, we were working. But I'll tell you what he's going to have to do on Tuesday. Rotation. That's a big thing that didn't happen last season, but has to happen this season. Now, Amrabat. Reason I want to speak about Amrabat. Again, you've just seen his picture here, but not sure if you watched the North London derby. Yves Bissouma, man, I always found it strange how he went from being what felt like one of the best defensive midfielders in the league at Brighton to Spurs, and then just sort of like disappearing. You know, when we signed Schneiderlin from Southampton, that has to be one of the most disappointing signings I think we've ever made. I thought we finally signed like a genuinely like top level defensive midfielder in the league, and then just went out. But Bissouma, the reason I enjoyed watching Bissouma so much, and I actually think this is part of a trend in the way that the Premier League is going, is midfielders. I think Pep Guardiola spoke about it as well. Are ball carriers now. Like Bissouma, on more than one occasion, brought that ball forward like 10 to 15 meters. Didn't pass it to anybody else. Just saw space and drove into that space. And by doing that, he advanced his team, Spurs, 10 meters up the pitch. Now, that's what ball carriers can do. And we speak so often about, nice first phase midfielders, passing it around, being the option. Sure, yeah. And I think that's something that Amrabat will bring in. But his ball carrying might be one of the most important aspects of what he's doing. And you've left a comment down there, and it's true. Like the traditional number 6 does not exist. I mean, it does exist in certain teams, but it shouldn't exist in the Premier League anymore. You know, like a Wilfred Ndidi. I think Kante was kind of one of the first ones that really showed what you could be, as well as being a defensive midfielder. Let me know if there's any that came before Kante, because I'm sure there were. But Kante was the best example of it, of being someone who's incredible at winning the ball back, but also just has a relentless energy to bring the ball up the pitch too, so he can be more than just a defensive midfielder. And that's kind of what Amrabat needs to be. And I think that's what I think that's what Yves Bissouma showed yesterday. Really, really fantastic performance from him. I know Makelele back in the day, but I'm saying that new style midfielder that is not just your defensive midfielder, that brings the ball forward and that can carry the ball forward. Frankie de Jong, the best ball carrier, probably certainly from deep in world football. But Amrabat, I'm looking forward to seeing if he can bring some of that sort of Bissouma element to this team, because this team really, really needs it. Let me see what you're saying down there in the comments. Patrick Vieira, you're going really far back now. I'm speaking about I'm not speaking about back in the day. I'm speaking about modern football. Speaking about now. I'm not speaking about Makelele. I'm not speaking about Vieira. Rodri, good example. But Kante came first. Anyway, you know what I mean. Ball carriers from deep are a fundamental part of Premier League success right now, which is why I want Amrabat to come in and why this midfield has struggled so much, because we have not had a ball carrier from deep. Now, something that I agree that Gary Neville said over the weekend. I think if you remember my Hojlund scout report that I did before he came in, or right at the start of him coming in, I said the one thing I really, really was excited about with Hojlund was his movement, his off-the-ball movement, his natural striker movement, the runs to the front post, the dummied putting all your weight on one foot and driving to the other, forcing the defenders to not know which way to turn, gaining yourself an extra 5 yards of space. That's something that Hojlund does naturally. And I think from a pressing perspective, he didn't really have too much to feed off against Burnley. I'll be completely honest. I think the best opportunity, well, one that just I can remember straight away, was that whipped cross from Diogo Dalot, and Hojlund just just flew in with his foot, and he was like a couple of inches behind it. Dembele from Spurs, that's a good one. He was a very good ball carrier. But yeah, I'm not worried about. Like, Hojlund's going to settle in and score here, score there. But as long as he consistently keeps that movement up, and as long as he does that across the course of a whole season, our whole team will get used to it. We will start firing in the crosses too. Yaya Toure, now that's probably the best one I think everyone's mentioned. I think he was probably the beginning of that. He might not have been the beginning of it, but he was a prime example of it. Man, I hated him. Absolutely hated him. He was ridiculous. Pascal Gross, he's I'm not sure what he certainly was a ball carrier against United. You need that position in modern football. So come on, Amrabat. Do the damn thing. Let's move on now to speak here. Because the games are going to come thick and fast. My lunchtime video today is going to be about Crystal Palace tomorrow. If I can ask you what right now, 1 second, ladies and gents. There's so many of you watching. How many have you got watching? We've got 1,600. Not that many of you. Some of you are watching. Drop a like on the video if you could. Makes a big, big difference. And if you can, and I'll say it now, look, let me pause that there. The Discord is open. The Telegram is getting shut down in 5 days' time. All right? Let me pull this up here. In 5 days' time, the Telegram will not exist. So anybody who's on Telegram and hasn't joined Discord, you will have nowhere to talk. That's what this community has been created for. It's not just here on the live stream. It's all day you can talk to other Reds from around the world in the United People's TV Discord. So please, if you can, go and join it. It's completely free, and it's meant to be there for your enjoyment. So much work went into it, and I think there's so many more of you that could still come across to it. And yeah, make sure that if you join, you link your YouTube account. You can do it in your preferences. The mods will help you because then you get added into the members-only chats. All right? Let's speak about Palace for 5 minutes. Ten Hag said, look, it's only one win, and it was only one win. But I tell you what, right? We are now, we've I wouldn't say we've circumnavigated a tough period of fixtures. We've completely bottomed out in a tough period of fixtures. We lost against Arsenal. We lost against Brighton. We lost against Bayern Munich. We lost away to Spurs. We lost our tough games so far this season. And it created that sort of swirling whirlpool of negativity. And that's what that Burnley game, it was a blocker for that. It wasn't a solution for it, and it was only one win. But now we've got Palace at home on Tuesday in the League Cup. Then we've got Palace at home on Saturday in the Premier League. Then we've got Galatasaray at home in the Champions League. And then we've got Brentford at home in the Premier League. 4 games in a row at Old Trafford. Now, we may have lost our last home game against Brighton, but that was the first game since the beginning of last season that we had lost in the league at home. This really is an opportunity of opportunities. Heading into the next international break, United could, and you might argue should, be going into it on the back of 5 wins in a row. Burnley away, Palace at home in the League Cup, Palace at home in the league, Galatasaray at home in the Champions League, and then Brentford. We could and should be winning all 5 of those games, and what a difference to the mood around our club that would make. Now, in terms of injury news, I'll be speaking through this in more detail in my lunchtime video because, as I said, we need rotation in this game. Amrabat all smiles there. Varane, of course, came off the bench at Turf Moor. Hopefully, he's now going to be returning to fitness. Will he start on Tuesday? Unsure. Mason Mount, he's training. I'm looking forward to seeing Mason Mount coming back in. Again, people down in the comments, or so many fans have already written off Mason Mount. He's a waste of money. We should have done this. We should have done that after playing 4 or 5 games. The start with Mason Mount, it didn't work. Ten Hag really put his trust in Casemiro to marshal that whole area on his own, and he overestimated his physical limits, and he couldn't do it. Bruno and Mount were leaving too much space up top when they lost the ball. They weren't tracking back, and Casemiro, all he could do was lunge in, and he didn't work, and then everybody's running straight at our defense. I'm looking forward to seeing Mason Mount back in this team. I think we will have a smarter version of the tactic that Ten Hag used early in the season. It'll be a little bit less aggressive, but a lot smarter. And with Amrabat in, it'll make a big difference. Now, Harry Maguire's also trained as well. And there's nothing I can say about Harry Maguire that I haven't already said now. But what would help United and what would suit United is if Maguire could actually play ball and be a decent defender for the next few months before, ideally, we ship him off in January. I don't know how likely that is. Like we all joked and laughed about it, about Jonny Evans coming in on a 1-year contract. What does that mean for Harry Maguire and his opportunities this season? And quite a few people said to me, I mean, they're completely different positions. Evans can play on the left, Maguire's going to play on the right. It's totally different. And then Harry Maguire's been injured. I say Harry Maguire should be starting this game against Crystal Palace. These are the games that Ten Hag should be able to look at him and go, I can rely on you. And he should. And we're going to have to rotate and rotate well. And this is a player I'm definitely looking forward to seeing, right? Buy India. It's not too often that you know you're going to have to rely on your backup goalkeeper. But because we've got the African Cup of Nations coming up in January, Cameroon are qualified for it. We haven't had the confirmation that Onana's going to go there, but he will. I'll be very surprised if he didn't. He takes a massive, massive sense of pride of playing for Cameroon. So I don't think he'll turn down the opportunity of playing for them in the African Cup of Nations. So therefore, we know full well that India is going to have to come in and play like 4, 5, 6, 7 games on the trot. So I want to see him come in. I want to see what is, because it's a style of play. When you switched from, I always compare it because it was the absolute best I'd seen. When Ortega in the FA Cup final for City, you took Edison out, you put Ortega in, and you wouldn't have known. Like they played the exact same. The style was completely consistent. And I want to see that the style is consistent between Onana and India. We need to see that he's really comfortable with the ball at his feet, that he can play it through on the pressure. Lots of things to see. And there's lots and lots of United squad feels like it's in a good in certain positions, we're in a good place in terms of rotation. Garnacho didn't play at the weekend. Pelistri didn't play at the weekend. But in other places, centre-back mainly, we're struggling. Defensively, we are struggling for alternatives apart from what we've got. So look, despite that, I think Ten Hag has definitely got to rotate. And I will speak about that in my lunchtime video. It's going to go out quite soon. But yeah, it's good that United got a win. But as Ten Hag said, it's only one win. And that's why Palace is important. It now is about building momentum and building consistency. I said there was absolutely zero. I wouldn't have cared if Man United had won that game against Burnley in a 95th minute by a deflected handball. Or if Man United had beaten Burnley by Bruno Fernandes scoring an absolute wonder goal. I would not have cared a jot because it would have been a win. However, the game against Palace, this is where Manchester United need to start from now on. It's about incremental improvements. The performance has to be better. Even if we're going to be taking lots of players out, the performance has to be better. I'm going to run through my starting 11 and my feelings about the League Cup and rotation and all that jazz in my lunchtime video today. And tomorrow we've got Palace in the League Cup. Then Saturday we've got Palace in the league. Games are going to come thick and fast. Look, thank you all for tuning in. Yeah, we don't always agree on everything. All right. It's impossible. I do try and take your opinions on board. Sometimes I dismiss them. But hey, I'm sure most of the time I don't. It's nice to have a little debate anyway. Take it easy. I'll be here tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. And I'll be here a little bit later on today with my lunchtime video. Take it easy.